Xiao Muyu pointed at Yi Futian's hand, which was still on her head. Disciple is not used to it. Oh, Yi Futian nodded, and removed his hand from Xiao Muyu's head. However, instead of retracting his hand, he pinched Xiao Muyu's face with it. Sounding like an elder, he said, Muyu, since I have accepted you as my disciple, I treat you as someone who is a generation younger than me. It is said that a tutor for a day is a father for a lifetime. You are like a child to me. Please don't mind my action. Xiao Muyu was close to tears. He was really treating her like a little kid. Had Master seen a child who was half a step away from the Renhuang plain? If Yi Futian was really an old man, Xiao Muyu was fine with it. The problem was he had a young and handsome face. Disciple is used to it now. Master, can we start now? Xiao Muyu had a feeling that she could no longer escape from the hands of Yi Futian. Yi Futian nodded. He returned to his spot and sat cross-legged saying, Let's start. A few days later, Xiao Muyu's body shone while divine light surged out from her. A terrifying sound of the great path rumbled in her body, causing the surrounding world to go berserk. This situation lasted for a long while. Then the endless divine light retracted and seeped into Xiao Muyu's body. She opened her eyes slowly. As compared to before, Xiao Muyu's eyes were glowing with sparkles now. Her temperament changed too. She was even more beautiful now. Her skin was radiant and smooth. Not a hint of deformities could be found on her. Her long hair fluttered even though there was no wind. Xiao Muyu's eyes sparkled like the stars as she revealed a smile. Did she really achieve her goal? She was a female Renhuang now. Moreover, she was a female Renhuang who had forged a flawless divine wheel. She looked in the direction of Yi Futian. The illusion around her had disappeared. Only the matrix was left standing. However, Yi Futian's aura was weak, as though all his vigor had been drained out of him. He even showed signs of dying. Master. Xiao Muyu was shocked, and she quickly moved towards him. She had her doubts before this. However, this matrix was so powerful, and could directly assist her in forging a flawless divine wheel. She speculated that Yi Futian had really exhausted his vigor in order to maintain this gigantic matrix. I'm fine, Yi Futian assured her while waving his hands nonchalantly. Master is satisfied to be able to witness your success. How are you feeling? Xiao Muyu squatted down and supported Yi Futian from the side. She felt slightly ashamed for doubting him before this. Even though he was frivolous, he had a kind heart. He even paid such a great price to help her. I'm fine. I merely used up all my energy and depleted some of my vigor. However, I can refine my life will so my body will recover by itself, Yi Futian explained. Xiao Muyu was deeply touched. How could his current condition be considered fine? Chapter 1673 Such a Shameless Master. Chapter 1673 Such a Shameless Master. For the next couple of months, Yi Futian focused on cultivating. At the end of the 10,035th year of the Divine Prefecture calendar, Yuxing broke through to the next level and became a demonic emperor. And just as expected, he forged a perfect divine wheel. Moreover, even though he had not needed Yi Futian's help, he was still able to do it. Now, of the people beside Yi Futian, Gu Donglu, Yu Sheng, Yaya, and the Swordmaster of Lihan all had perfect divine wheels, as well as Yi Futian himself and many others in the heavenly mandate realm. If they had Do Zhao and Xiao Muyu as well, then their total number of Renhuangs would be comparable to any of the other powers that had gone to the god's relic with Yi Futian. However, this matter was not widely known yet, and had not caused too much of a disturbance. Otherwise, all of the 9 realms would be shaken by this news. On this day, a group of people came to Yi Futian's pavilion. Among them was a Renhuang with a 6th-tier divine wheel, showing how powerful their formation was. But they did not directly rush into the pavilion. They stopped outside and asked permission to enter. Yi Futian had seen several of the people among them before. They had shown up with Xiao Muyu. They must be from the Xiao clan. Several months ago, she had broken through to the next level and left as Yi Futian had asked her to temporarily return to her family. She did so, and there had been no news from her in several months. Now, seeing the cultivators from the Xiao clan coming, Yi Futian guessed that they were probably bringing her. We are here from the Xiao clan, Emperor Yi. said the old man at their head with a slight bow. Although he was in the mid-tier of Renhuangs, he was still very polite to Yi Futian. In ordinary circumstances, this man would absolutely be Yi Futian's senior. There was a huge gap between him and the 6th tier of the divine wheel. No need to be so polite, elder, said Yi Futian with a bow. Why have you come? Several days ago, the goddess of the Shao clan decided to invite many heroes to observe a ceremony. We are here to extend the invitation to you, said the elder with a smile. A look of surprise came over Yi Futian's face. He did not know the Shao clan that well. Did the goddess mean to pass on their inheritance? You could have sent someone to notify me. There was no need to come in person, said Yi Futian. But the man had said he had come to offer an invitation, not just to notify. He had guessed something. A smile appeared on the elder's face. The goddess personally asked us to. You are her master, so she should have come personally. She originally intended to, but there are many family matters that she must attend to, so she had to send me instead. Please forgive the impropriety. Of course, said Yi Futian with a smile. It seemed that once Xiao Muyu forged her perfect wheel of the Great Path, her position within the family had changed. In the God's Relic, the most outstanding people had been Jian Qingzhu, Shen Hao, Nan Luoshan, and some others. Those who had forged perfect divine wheels, and then received ritual implements, were now bright symbols, and were now the most prestigious people in their forces. But there were many top disciples who were at the top of the Saint Plane, but would now not necessarily be their forces' heirs. This had been the case for Xiao Muyu, but now the Shao clan had made her a goddess, and invited everyone to the ceremony. That must mean that she was now like Shen Hao and Nan Luoshan. She had become one of the bright stars of her faction. That's amazing, Yi Futian thought to himself with a smile. He also knew that man who had come to give him the invitation was very kind. I thank you for the invitation. Should we go now? Asked Yi Futian. The goddess would like to see you first, so she hopes that you can come as soon as possible. Of course, if you are busy, we can wait for you, said the old man with a smile. Wait for me just a moment. Yi Futian turned and said, I am going, you all stay here. Futian, I will go with you, said Jiang Qingzi. Over the past few days, he had grown to understand just how powerful Yi Futian was. This was a man who could change the world. No wonder the oracle had made that prophecy about him. Thus, there would always be people following him. Between him and Hua Jiangshan, one of them needed to go. All right, said Yi Futian with a nod. I will go as well, said Xia Qingyuan, stepping up beside him. She had warm feelings toward Xiao Muyu, and it would soon be the 10,036th year of the divine prefecture calendar. Yi Futian looked at her, then nodded slightly. All right, you may come with us as well. 3 people are enough. We will stay there for a few days then return. Everyone nodded. Right now, the most important thing for them was cultivating, so they could not all go to the Shao clan. Yi Futian, Jiang Qingzi, and Xia Qingyuan walked down to the cultivators from the Shao clan. Let's go, elder, said Yi Futian. All right, said the elder with a nod. They all rose into the air and disappeared in a moment. At that moment, people from various forces were arriving at the Shao clan. Yi Futian and the others were flying through the air. Elder, will this ceremony be very grand? Yi Futian asked. The gods and goddesses of the Shao clan are the heirs of our family. Once they have their title bestowed upon them, the whole family will assist and prepare for the future management of the family. A ceremony celebrating this will naturally be grand, said the elder with a nod. Announcing this to the world is also a kind of protection for the goddess. Yi Futian nodded in understanding. This would likely be similar to when a dynasty bestowed a title upon a prince. Once they held the ceremony, the prince would officially become the heir. From then on, outsiders would not dare to attack them lightly. This was just like Shen Hao and Nan Luoshan. Who would dare attack them? Doing so would be declaring war. Why did they choose Muyu? Asked Yi Futian. She forged a perfect divine wheel when she broke through to the Renhuang Plain, as you know. She also performed admirably at a sparring session within the family not long ago, dazzling everyone. Thus the family made this decision, said the elder. I understand. Yi Futian thought that the Shao clan must have its own assessment method. It seemed that Xiao Muyu had completely changed after forging a perfect divine wheel. The Xiao clan was the second place that Yi Futian had gone in the Central Emperor realm, after Tianshan Academy. The majestic mansion of the Xiao clan rose up level upon level, made up of temples and castles. If Tianshan Academy seemed like a celestial realm, the Xiao clan seemed like a divine residence. Once Yi Futian and the others entered, they attracted a lot of attention. Many people bowed to them while others watched from afar. Not long before, they had heard that Xiao Muyu, who had just been bestowed the title of goddess, had a master. Moreover, the master was extremely young and not of that high a level. But he was still a legendary figure. He had forged a perfect divine wheel within the god's relic and performed outstandingly. This made many people surprised. Why would their goddess treat this Yi Futian as a master? Later news had spread through the Xiao clan that Xiao Muyu had only been able to forge a perfect divine wheel with his help. As for how much he had helped her, no one knew. Perhaps Xiao Muyu was the only one who did. The goddess has moved into the goddess palace, Emperor Yi. The elder who had led them here pointed it out. They continued on, passing over countless temples and castles. It was like they were heading to the palace of heaven itself. The goddess palace had a style all its own. It was tall and mighty. When Yi Futian and the others arrived, they saw a group of people coming out to greet them. The woman at their head wore a long black dress that hung down to the ground. She looked radiant under the bright sunlight, as noble and profound as a black pearl. This woman was naturally Xiao Muyu. Does she have the aura of a queen? Yi Futian watched the woman coming towards him. She seemed completely different than before. Even different than when she had first become a Renhuang. She seemed extraordinarily confident and noble, just like a real queen, both beautiful and outstanding. Of course, cultivation was able to make people change. Before, if Xiao Muyu had stood before Nan Luoshan and Changxi, she would not even be noticed. But now she was much more noticeable. It seemed that a lot had happened over the last few months. Xiao Muyu had changed a lot. Xia Qingyuan was stunned when she saw Xiao Muyu's transformation. She wondered if she would change that much when she reached the Renhuang plain. "Greetings, master," said Xiao Muyu with a bow as she reached Yi Futian. Then she looked up at the young man before her, a slight smile in her eyes. Although her master was quite unorthodox, he had truly changed her life. "Not bad," said Yi Futian with a smile and a nod. She was truly worthy of being his disciple. "Please come in," she said, leading the way. Suddenly, the people behind her stepped to both sides, leaving a path. They were all acting extremely politely. From this, it was obvious how high a position Xiao Muyu held. Yi Futian did not stand on ceremony, but walked directly forward, following Xiao Muyu. Xia Qingyuan followed behind him. When Xiao Muyu saw her, she whispered, "Sister." Xia Qingyuan nodded back to her as she walked forward, a strange look on her face. She followed Yi Futian, her head slightly bowed. "Farewell, uncle," Xiao Muyu said to the elder who had brought Yi Futian to her. "Take good care of Emperor Yi," said the man. Said Xiao Muyu with a nod. "You may all leave. I have some things to talk to my master about." After they left, Xiao Muyu followed Yi Futian into the goddess palace. Only she, Yi Futian, and Xia Qingyuan were there. "I hope I have not embarrassed you in any way, master," said Xiao Muyu with a smile. "You have done well," said Yi Futian with a nod. He found a place to sit, then looked at her and said, "Come here and let me see you more clearly." Xiao Muyu walked up to him, looking at him a little warily. Was he going to pat her on the head again? "I am a goddess now, so you should treat me honorably," she said as he reached out to her. "Shouldn't you respect your master?" said Yi Futian. She narrowed her eyes at him. What did respecting her master have to do with being patted on the head? What a strange habit of his. She glared at him, but still came forward and lowered her head, a little bit of indignation in her eyes. She was a goddess after all, and everyone in the Xiao clan looked at her with respect. Those of her generation were even more respectful. But here, no use thinking about, she would just endure it. "Good," said Yi Futian with a smile. "I have come so far to visit you, and my shoulders are a bit sore. Let me massage them for you," she said, gritting her teeth and walking behind him. She was about to have a ceremony held in her honor, and here she was rubbing his shoulders. "That feels great," said Yi Futian, closing his eyes. Then he whispered, "Why would one accept female disciples if not for enjoyment? Did male disciples just not have this talent?" Xia Qingyuan looked at Yi Futian coldly. She had never seen such a shameless master. "If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible." Yi Futian had a perfect divine wheel himself, as did several of the people around him. He naturally understood divine wheels. So although he was shocked, he could accept it. But he didn't know just how much Yi Futian had contributed. Xiao Muyu had not told him in detail. She had just said that Yi Futian had expended some energy to set up a life energy matrix that had helped her forge her perfect divine wheel. Xiao Hanjiang felt that his daughter was hiding something, but he was not concerned about what it was. He approved both of Yi Futian's talent and the help he had given to his daughter. This was a man with a lot of potential. "You are too kind, Elder Xiao. I just helped her a little bit. Muyu herself is very talented, and she achieved her perfect divine wheel on her own. After all, everything in cultivation is based on oneself," said Yi Futian modestly. Of course, he would not say that it was all due to him. He had asked Xiao Muyu not to reveal too much, but rather to just say that he had helped her out by using his own experience. After all, he was her master, so she would not be able to hide his help completely. Xiao Muyu looked at him deeply. When had her master ever been so modest? "You helped me advance to the next level. How is that just a little bit of help? I will always respect you for that, and I will always..." Ahem. Yi Futian coughed, cutting off Xiao Muyu's words. He saw that she was smiling at him and said, "I only did what anyone else would have done. Keep cultivating well, Muyu. This will be the best way to thank me." Was this girl trying to expose the whole truth? How improper. "I understand," said Xiao Muyu with a smile. Xiao Hanjiang did not understand their conversation, but he said, "Emperor Yi, I am Muyu's father. You are her master. Although there is a great gap in our ages, we are both equally her elders. There is no need for you to call me elder and be so modest. You can call me Brother Xiao, all right?" "If you say so, I will of course do so, Brother Xiao," said Yi Futian, clinking his cup with Xiao Hanjiang's. Xiao Hanjiang was trying to pull him closer. He had already accepted Xiao Muyu as a disciple, and now Hanjiang was trying to improve their relationship even closer. Of course, Yi Futian would not refuse. "Please drink as much as you'd like, Brother Yi," said Xiao Hanjiang, drinking another cup. Xiao Qianshan smiled as well. "Now you are calling Hanjiang brother," he said. "And you are Muyu's master. From now on you are family. If there is anything you need, just say it, and I will do anything in my power to help you." He had a perfect divine wheel and infinite potential. Moreover, he was very close to Xiao Muyu. "I hope that you will not become annoyed when I take you up on your often," said Yi Futian jokingly. The banquet had a very harmonious atmosphere. There was not one thing that seemed discordant. After all, Xiao Muyu had a completely different status now than before. Yi Futian noticed that the man's first utterance had been about him. It seemed that by becoming Xiao Muyu's master, he had suddenly become a member of the Xiao clan, and had created an heir. This would affect a lot of people. "This is Master Yi, one of the people who forged a perfect wheel of the divine path in the god's relic. He is Muyu's master," said Xiao Qianshan, introducing him. "This is my elder brother." "Greetings, elder," said Yi Futian politely to the man. The elder nodded to him, showing not the least bit of disrespect. "You helped Muyu advance, creating a goddess for our clan. I owe you my infinite thanks." The elder's tone was completely proper, and not rude in the least. "My junior Xiaolan is also rather talented. He is a mid-level Renhuang with a 4th-tier divine wheel. Might I ask you to teach him a thing or two? Perhaps you could aid him in his cultivation." A look of surprise came over everyone's faces. Yi Futian had just entered the Renhuang plane. Although he was very talented, how could he teach a mid-level Renhuang anything? However, the elder had not said what Yi Futian should teach him, so it would not necessarily come to a fight between them. Thus, this was actually a test for Yi Futian, one that might cause him a lot of trouble. After all, Yi Futian was the goddess's master. Asking him to teach Xiaolan was, at least on the surface, not the least bit improper. You can refuse, Brother Yi, Xiao Hanjiang said to him telepathically. The elder was clearly unhappy and had deliberately sought out Yi Futian. But everything was already arranged. If Yi Futian refused, there would be no problem. After all, he was a member of the family. The elder couldn't really do anything to him. Master, ignore him, said Xiao Muyu telepathically. Yi Futian was silent for a moment. Then he put down his cup and looked at Xiao Muyu. You are about to become a goddess. If I don't do anything, won't that make you lose face? On saying this, he smiled, stood up and said, I accept. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The sky above the goddess pavilion was originally clear and sunny. However, it instantly turned white and black. An overbearing aura of both life and death was created. The current of life and death circled Xiaolan's body and transformed into images. It seemed to have transformed into the aura of yin and yang, life and death. Yi Futian sensed Xiaolan's will. The disciples of the Xiao clan should have cultivated both of these wills. This was also the reason that Xiao Muyu fought for the lotus back then. Xiaolan's eyes changed. His pupils turned into black and white. They became bottomless. Images of life and death appeared as his pupils spun. Those eyes seemed to be about to devour Yi Futian when Yi Futian looked toward him. This gaze caused the immense will of life and death in the surroundings to envelop Yi Futian. It was as though a true yin-yang formation of life and death had descended and had directly charged into Yi Futian's brain. Sorcery. Yi Futian was expressionless. His eyes had also changed. It was deep and boundless like an endless abyss. In that instant, the terrifying black hole devoured everything. Images of space directly suppressed and enveloped the images of life and death. A perfect divine wheel. Xiaolan still had his hands behind his back. Even though he had lost to Xiao Muyu in the competition, that had not been a direct battle. At this moment, he was facing off against a perfect divine wheel in every sense of the word. He had an even clearer sense of the perfect divine wheel. Even though you have a perfect divine wheel, how are you going to bridge the gap between our cultivation level? Xiao Muyu murmured to himself. A terrifying yin-yang image of life and death appeared on the horizon. It created a horrifying death ray, which cleaved toward Yi Futian's body. At the same time, a similar scene appeared in his eyes. The scene in his eyes attacked Yi Futian's soul. Creak creak. The sword will crashed against the death ray. The place of the banquet was not far away. However, the battlefield of the two fighters had been enveloped by a destructive tempest. The tempest did not affect the banquet in the slightest. The two areas were clearly separated. It was a miraculous scene. Boom. Yi Futian once again took another step forward. Countless rays of golden splendor appeared around him. The rays of light circled the area like individual divine sculptures. It suppressed the descending death ray. Even though many of the divine sculptures were shattered and destroyed in the process, Yi Futian still stood there with a calm expression. His expression did not change, even though the surroundings were crumbling around him. Even though your will is much stronger, your cultivation level is too low. However, this battle is not fair to you, Xiaolan said. He did not become sarcastic, because he had a slight upper hand. Chapter 1676 Treat Men. Chapter 1676 Treat Men. During the first day of the 10,036-year history of the Divine Prefecture, the northern regions of the Central Emperor Realm had been extremely lively. This was especially so for the northern plain state where the Xiao family was at. Many of the influential families from the main cities in this area gathered in the core city of the northern plain state, the northern plain city occupied by the Xiao family. In fact, many of the influential factions from all around the Central Emperor Realm sent forth powerful fighters to congratulate them. The Xiao clan was about to officially confer someone as a goddess. The influential family that lorded over the northern plain state was about to welcome a successor. It was imaginable how large a commotion that created. All of the powerful families from the northern plain state had to be present. After all, the Xiao clan was the absolute overlord of the region. At this moment, Many powerful fighters from all over the land were arriving outside the manor of the Xiao clan one after the other. There were also several people engaged in discussion outside the manor. Rumor has it that Xiao Muyu will be the one who will be conferred as a goddess. I've met her once in the past. However, even though Xiao Muyu has exceptional talent within the Xiao clan, she did not display an overwhelming advantage. There were still people who could suppress her, and she did not prove her way in the god's relic. How could it be that she forged a perfect divine will after that? Some quizzed. Perhaps she obtained an opportunity in the god's relic and achieved a complete understanding. Some guessed. Not many people knew that Xiao Muyu had sought out a mentor. At this moment outside the Xiao manor, a group of people descended from the sky. They arrived at the scene from beyond the horizon. The celestial worthy temple pays its visit, a voice announced. This group of people stepped forward and caused countless people below them to raise their heads and look at the sky. The celestial worthy temple, one of the most influential factions in the Central Emperor realm, had arrived. After that, influential figures from factions like the Sheng clan, Sky Reaching School, and the Nantian Divine Kingdom arrived one after the other. As top-notch factions of the Central Emperor realm, they had to show their respect to the invitation of the Xiao clan. All of these factions sent over their men. The influential Xiao clan had gathered many of the powerful fighters from all over the Central Emperor realm on this day. The event happening within the manor was grand. However, this grand celebration had not reached Futian, who was within the goddess pavilion yet. The Xiao manor was too large. It was like a castle. Within the goddess pavilion, Futian could only faintly hear movement. It was the powerful fighters of the Xiao clan bustling around. Teacher. At this moment, Xiao Muyu arrived at his side. Xiao Muyu was even more radiant and beautiful today. Not only was she dressed in a magnificent black long gown, but she was also even wearing a goddess crown on her head. She was stunning. Her aura as a queen had become more intense. What are you looking at, teacher? Xiao Muyu could not help but ask softly when she saw Futian observing her. Why does it feel like I am marrying my daughter off? Futian said with a smile. Xiao Muyu was a little speechless. What kind of feeling is that? Xiao Muyu smiled as she asked. I'd naturally feel a little longing if I were to marry such a beautiful disciple off. Who's going to serve me if you get married? Futian joked. But my disciple is about to be conferred as a goddess. I'm happy. Xiao Muyu was used to Futian's flippant attitude. She said, Teacher, I have to go prepare. They have come to help you change your clothes. Change? Futian blinked as he looked toward the maids behind Xiao Muyu. Yes, you're the teacher of the goddess in today's grand celebration. You will be sitting somewhere prominent, so you can't be too casual, Xiao Muyu said with a smile. Futian felt a little weird. The powerful Xiao clan and many influential figures from all around the area were here. Yet he, a person with a first-tier divine wheel, was going to be seated at a prominent spot. It did not feel suitable. However, if he were to look at it from the perspective of the teacher of the goddess, the arrangement felt completely natural. In the world of cultivation, the status of a teacher was equivalent to that of a parent. A teacher would be treated as a parent. I can't even keep a low profile even if I wanted to. Futian sighed. Xiao Muyu looked at him speechless. Then you have to act even more properly. All right. Futian nodded. He did not reject the offer. He said, though all of the maidens from all around the land would only look at me if I were to sit there. Madam, are you not going to care about him? Xiao Muyu was completely at a loss for words. She glanced toward Xia Qingyuan at the side. Xia Qingyuan froze. She looked at Futian, only for Futian to shout at Xiao Muyu. Stop talking nonsense, go quickly. Xiao Muyu nodded, then turned to leave. Futian looked at Xiao Muyu's departing figure and whispered. In the past, I thought that accepting a disciple would be extremely cumbersome. If I knew that it would make me feel so good, I would have accepted hundreds of disciples. Female disciples, you mean? Xia Qingyuan said casually. She seemed to fully understand Futian. Of course. Look at how filial female disciples are. Futian smiled as he said. All of the maids who had come with Xiao Muyu had weird expressions. They felt that the teacher of the goddess was a little improper. Even though Yi Futian looked young, they guessed that he was actually several hundred years old. Yi Futian could not have run to the Yuanyang clan and said that he was going to take Yuan Hong in as a disciple. He would be chased out. If not for Xiao Muyu personally visiting him and asking for his help, he would not have thought to accept her as a disciple. That could be fate. Yuan Hong smiled bitterly. Did that mean that I missed out on the opportunity? It's all right. Do you have a lady in your clan that's about the same age as you? I can accept her as a disciple, Yi Futian said. Why must it be a lady? Yuan Hong asked. Cough. Yi Futian glanced at him, a little speechless. Did he have to ask that? Female disciples are more obedient and easy to nurture. Yuan Hong's expression darkened. Yi Futian was shameless. He only accepted female disciples? Are you sure that you can forge perfect divine wheels? Even though he could sense Yi Futian's shamelessness, he had to accept it if Yi Futian could truly forge perfect divine wheels. Of course I'm not sure, Yi Futian said. Which means to say that you are only responsible for accepting the disciples, and not the results. Yuan Hong said. Your thoughts are improper. Come speak to me after you change them. Yi Futian patted on Yuan Hong's shoulder, then continued to walk forward. Yuan Hong looked at Yi Futian's back speechless. He only accepts female disciples, yet he said that my thoughts were improper? Yuan Hong thought. Yuan Hong, what's your relationship with Yi Futian? An elder by the side asked. I worked with him in the God's Relic. I also stood on his side when we came out. We are quite close with each other, Yuan Hong said. Invite him to the Yuanyang clan if he is free. It's good to establish a friendly relationship with that person, the elder said. Xiao Muyu's perfect divine wheel was still a mystery. They could only guess that Yi Futian had contributed a great deal to her perfect divine wheel. Even if it was only a minor contribution, it was better for them to be his friend than offend him. Understood. Yuan Hong nodded. This youth who had displayed his prowess in the God's Relic must have attracted the attention of many premium factions today. Many factions like the Celestial Worthy Temple, Sky-Reaching School, and the Sheng clan had noticed Yi Futian. There were many people here who were within the God's Relic back then. They all knew Yi Futian. At this moment, several people raised their heads and looked toward the main hall of the Heavenly Palace. They saw multiple figures step out from within the Heavenly Palace at the top of the stairway. In that instant, the vast space gradually became silent. Countless gazes shot in that direction. The elders of the Xiao clan appeared there one after the other. That group of people helmed the Xiao clan. Xiao Qianshan was also there. A group of people stood beside him on either side. Someone guided Yi Futian up the steps. Xiao Qianshan spoke when he saw Yi Futian. This way, friend Yi. Yi Futian walked toward him. Under the witness of countless people, Xiao Qianshan guided Yi Futian to the highest position on the right. The rest of the people from the Xiao clan seemed to have accepted such an arrangement. It was clear that this action had been discussed before this day. On the other side of Yi Futian, at the highest position on the left side, was the supreme elder of the Xiao clan. Everyone present, including Yuan Hong, was shocked. What kind of treatment was this? The pupils of the powerful fighters from various influential factions dilated. Yi Futian was the teacher of the goddess. Such an arrangement would be appropriate if Yi Futian were an upper-level Renhuang. However, he was still a beginner in the Renhuang plane. The attitude of the Xiao clan was clear as day when they arranged for him to take that position. Who's that youth? Many of the powerful fighters from the factions of the Northern Plains state felt their hearts shake. They asked around for Yi Futian's identity and secretly thought of him as a charismatic man. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 1677, Conferring a Goddess. Chapter 1677, Conferring a Goddess. The people who were standing in front were elders of the Xiao clan. Thus, Yi Futian looked even more eye-catching from his position. He would steal someone's attention the moment they glanced at him. He was so young, yet he had such a high status? Other than the helmsman of the Xiao clan who had not appeared, that position only paled in comparison to the supreme elder of the Xiao clan. How could anyone not be alarmed? More importantly, Yi Futian should not be a member of the Xiao clan. Even though Xiao Muyu was about to be conferred as goddess, no one in this generation should be able to rival the status of the goddess Xiao Muyu. What did an outsider appearing at that position mean? Most of the factions in the Northern Plain state did not know that Xiao Muyu had sought out a mentor. At this moment, they felt that they could not understand anything. They could not guess the other party's identity no matter how hard they tried. Their gazes landed on the people from the top-notch factions who were standing on higher ground. They saw that those people had strange expressions, but were not overly alarmed. It was clear that they knew who the youth was. Could he be a premium figure from another faction? The future spouse for the goddess? Some people thought in their hearts. However, they quickly tossed this idea to the side. Even if that was the case, the person should not be standing in front of Xiao Muyu's elders. Even Xiao Muyu's grandfather, Xiao Qianshan, was standing behind him. In actuality, even Yi Futian was shocked. He had already felt that the situation was rather grand when Xiao Muyu brought people along to help him change. He knew that he would stand in a rather important position, but he did not expect to be where he was now. It would be alright if his cultivation level were powerful enough. It would be understandable if he stood in front of Xiao Qianshan if that was the case. That was because even though Xiao Qianshan and Xiao Hanjiang were Xiao Muyu's elders, they were both members of the Xiao clan. In terms of their relationship, everyone present could be said to be Xiao Muyu's elder. However, the clan was an organization. Once Xiao Muyu was conferred as the goddess, her status in the family would, in some sense, surpass that of her grandfather and father. However, he as a teacher was different. He was not from the Xiao clan. Thus, no matter how exceptional his disciple became, they had to be respectful toward him. However, his being here despite his cultivation level was rather unsuitable. This could only show that the Xiao clan was being extremely respectful toward him. However, if that was the case, the people of the influential factions might suspect that he had a big role to play in Xiao Muyu's process of proving her path. Given that the Xiao clan was treating him with such respect, the people of the top-notch factions were indeed thinking about that problem. Furthermore, the two ladies by Yi Futian's side also obtained the inheritance of the great emperor. They were given to them by Yi Futian. This force might not be eye-catching, but it was worth looking forward to. Furthermore, even if they did not consider those factions, Yi Futian himself also had extreme potential. Since that was the case, coupled with the fact that he was Xiao Muyu's teacher, and that he was on good terms with the Xiao clan, why would they not extend the appropriate amount of respect? This form of respect was a simple thing for them. They did not have to spend anything. Why would they not do it? Elder. Yi Futian nodded in reply. I didn't go visit you even though you've been here for several days. Have you gotten used to your stay in the Xiao clan? Xiao Tan asked with a smile. He was making small talk. You're too polite, elder. How could I not be used to the place with Muyu taking care of me? Yi Futian said. Xiao Muyu had treated him extremely well. It was for that reason that Yi Futian considered if he should take in more female disciples, so that he could relax and live a good life when he grew old. That's good. Since you're already here, feel free to stay for a few more days. Get Muyu to serve you well. She's a little busier these few days and must not have taken good care of you, Xiao Tan said. If how she treated me was not good care, then I might not bear to leave in the future, Yi Futian smiled in reply. It was no wonder that he would want to take in a few more disciples. He would have a good life, even if he remained in the Xiao clan. Of course, it was impossible for him to stay for long. He still had many things to do. He came this time to interact with the Xiao clan. Many of the elders by his side laughed. Someone said, You can stay here indefinitely if you cannot bear to leave. You can give the unpromising juniors a little pointer if you do. That's right. Those juniors are extremely arrogant. They'll know that there's always someone stronger than them, if you can help us teach them a lesson. These were jokes, of course. However, he could see the attitudes of the Xiao clan from those words. Everyone in the chain of command was giving him the appropriate amount of respect. This must be the intention of the person at the very top. It was at this moment when everyone's gaze shifted toward the same direction. They saw a figure step out from within an ancient sacred hall above the stairway. Yi Futian also looked in that direction. At this moment, Xiao Mui was bathed in sacred splendor. Her long gown radiated magnificent rays of light. In that instant, the gazes of everyone present was locked in on her. Is that Xiao Muyu? Many people who had seen Xiao Muyu in the past had a shock in their hearts. The transformation in her demeanor was too great. Even the pupils of the people from the top-notch factions who had seen her in the god's relic dilated. The elegance of Xiao Muyu before their eyes did not pale in comparison to Changxi. Xiao Muyu walked down the stairs one step at a time, as she propped up her black gown. She smiled and glanced toward Yi Futian when she passed him by, then continued walking downward till she reached the center. She was proper, sacred, beautiful, elegant. She was a queen-like existence. She would become the future goddess of the Shao clan, the next successor. At this moment, another figure appeared at the ancient sacred hall that pierced into the clouds. Countless gazes shot in that direction. Yi Futian also looked over. It was the helmsman of the Shao clan, the clan leader of the Shao clan, Xiao Dingtian. A terrifying existence that was unmatched in the 9 realms. He stood there like a deity. Countless people looked up to him. At this moment, everyone from the Shao clan bowed. Then, the powerful fighters who had come from all around the region to observe the ceremony followed suit and bowed. No matter what motive they had for coming here, no matter what kind of emotion they had respect for one of the strongest figures of this era. All of their eyes at this moment were filled with sincere respect. From this day on, Xiao Muyu will become the goddess of the Shao clan. The Shao clan will nurture and prop her up. A fleeting sound spread from the ancient hall. Everyone in the vast Shao manor heard the voice. Yes, clan leader. The powerful fighters of the Shao clan bowed. Xiao Dingtian scanned through the crowd, then said, "The Supreme Elder will host the grand ceremony." He then turned around and went back into the divine hall after he finished his sentence. Everyone felt that it was natural. He was Xiao Dingtian. The fighters from the northern plain state that came to witness the ceremony felt incredibly excited. Xiao Dingtian was a legendary figure who defined the era. The rest of the major factions were better off. However, to the northern plain state, Xiao Dingtian was a living legend. He was a totem of this era. Following that was the conference ceremony. It was a bunch of formalities, but everyone present played along. No one from the influential factions caused any trouble. They had come to witness the ceremony. After all of the procedures were over, everyone, other than the supreme elder of the Shao clan, bowed and greeted Xiao Muyu. Greetings, goddess. Yi Futian silently observed as the events unfolded. In the past, he had thought that there was no need for the conference ceremony. However, it seemed that it was very necessary. Such a stern, serious ceremony would leave an imprint in the hearts of everybody present. They would make people truly feel the status of the goddess. This way, Xiao Muyu's status as the goddess would truly be displayed within the family, which would boost her authority in the future. It was only with this ceremony that they could accomplish the goal of getting the entire family to support Xiao Muyu. Chapter 1678 Partnering Up. Chapter 1678 Partnering Up. After the conference ceremony, the Shao clan hosted the people from the other factions in a banquet. Many heroes had gathered here for the conference of the goddess. Aside from those factions in the northern plain state, influential factions from all over the regions had arrived. The Shao clan, who was hosting the event, had to tend to them. They could not just chase the people off after they observed the ceremony. The banquet was split into 2 separate areas. The influential factions of the Central Emperor realm occupied an area, while the powerful fighters from the factions of the Northern Plain state occupied the area behind them. The Shao clan had made the appropriate arrangements. Everyone got to freely enjoy the wine and delicacies. Yi Futian was also in the area of the banquet, where the major factions of the Central Emperor realm were. Just like his previous position, he was sitting in an esteemed position. As the clan leader of the Shao clan, Xiao Dingtian was not going to attend the banquet. The Supreme Elder held the highest position and sat at the main position. The 2 seats to his left and right were occupied by Yi Futian and Xiao Muyu, who had just been conferred the title of goddess. The rest of the people were influential figures within the Shao clan. Every influential faction from the Central Emperor realm occupied an area in the banquet. They were not arranged to occupy the same area. The area where the Xiao clan was hosting the banquet was enormous. Thus, there was no need for them to mix the various factions together. Instead, they made the appropriate arrangement and demarcated an area for every faction. Today is the goddess conference ceremony of the Xiao clan. Thank you for showing us the respect and coming over to observe the ceremony. I propose a toast to all of you. The supreme elder of the Xiao clan raised his cup and gulped down its content. In that instant, everyone from the other factions followed along and raised their cups. After all, Xiao Tan was a man of high status. Xiao Dingtian of the Xiao clan did not probe too much about the matters of the family. In actuality, Xiao Tan was the direct manager of the Xiao clan. He had high seniority and was immensely powerful. Everyone who had come today could call him their senior. The consequent banquet was bustling. The conversations were also relatively more relaxed. Elder Xiao, the Shen clan is rather curious about several things and hope that you can enlighten us. At this moment, a person from the direction of the Shen clan spoke out. Xiao Tan looked over. The person who spoke was one of the leading figures in the Shen clan. He had a high status within the Shen clan. Please speak. Xiao Tan nodded. According to what I know, the goddess had broken through while she was training in Tianshan Academy. The goddess must have sought Yi Futian out as her teacher back then. Am I right? The powerful fighter from the Shen clan asked. In that instant, several people became excited about the conversation. They were also rather curious. That's right. Xiao Tan nodded. I don't have to describe the difficulty of forging a perfect divine wheel. We would not be confused if the goddess Xiao Muyu had proven her path at the Xiao clan. However, she had proved her path with the help of Yi Futian. I wish to ask, what kind of divine item did he use? The powerful fighter of the Shen clan asked. He glanced toward Yi Futian as he spoke. In actuality, he was directing the question toward Yi Futian. This was not just the doubt of the Shen clan. The rest of the factions also wished to know the answer. Not many other factions in the 3,000 realms of the Great Path knew more than them about how difficult it was to prove their path and forge a perfect divine wheel. I'll not lie to all of you, but I do not know. Friend Yi is Muyu's teacher and must have given Muyu a few pointers. However, the Xiao clan would not pay attention to things that we shouldn't pay attention to, Xiao Tan said with a smile. He was hinting that this was something the Shen clan should not be paying attention to. How Yi Futian helped Xiao Muyu was Yi Futian's business. Everyone present understood what the other factions were thinking. They were suspecting that Yi Futian had obtained something in the god's relic. Also, we have resolved the incident in the god's relic in the City of Ruins. There's no need for us to harp on it, Xiao Tan continued. The saga that happened in the City of Ruins had embroiled nearly half of all of the factions in the 9 realms. Yi Futian had made it out of the saga safely. The other factions had not cared back then. However, now that they were suspecting that Yi Futian had managed to obtain something, they wanted to bring up that matter once again. I was merely curious. The person from the Shen clan smiled. He did not care about the other party's attitude. In terms of ability, the Shen clan could be placed in the top few within the Central Emperor realm. They were much more powerful than the Xiao clan, and were naturally more arrogant. Yi Futian, is your teacher all right? The powerful fighter from the Shen clan suddenly asked Yi Futian. Naturally so, Yi Futian replied calmly. I heard that you had a chat with Shen Hao back in Xintian Academy. The Shen clan had already put down the incident that happened back then. We do not wish to do anything to your teacher. Please relay that to your teacher if you have the chance to. If he wishes to forget everything that happened back then, and come have a look at the Shen clan, there might be room for us to return to how we were in the past. The other party continued. Yi Futian looked up at the other party. The faint smile in his eyes hid the indifference in his heart. Was this pity? Did they want the Sky River Great Elder to head to the Shen clan and admit his mistake? Also, when did the Shen clan let the matter go? Then what did they bringing his teacher away mean? The Shen clan did not deal with the Sky River Great Elder, but they had set their sights on Feishue. Furthermore, his grandmaster had his wife taken away, his daughter murdered, and his disciples massacred. Yet, they wanted his grandmaster to head to the Shen clan and admit his mistake? Yi Futian smiled but did not reply. The people from the Sheng clan noticed Yi Futian's indifferent attitude. Yi Futian had become a powerful figure of this generation. He had also become the teacher of the goddess Xiaomuyu, and was on close terms with the Xiao clan. He must have many thoughts of his own. If they noticed that Yi Futian threatened the offspring of the Sheng clan, then they would have to quell this threat while it was still in the cradle. At least for the time being, the Sheng clan did not pay too much attention to Yi Futian. He had great potential but was still too weak. Yi Futian also noticed the expressions of the people from the Sheng clan. He knew that the Sheng clan had not paid too much heed to him. Even though he had appeared with the identity of his grandmaster's disciple, the Sheng clan, who stood at the zenith of the Central Emperor clan, would not care too much about him. However, currently, the Sheng clan had truly acknowledged his existence. They might attack him sometime in the future. Thinking about that, Yi Futian knew that he had to prepare for the future and be warier of the Sheng clan. He picked up his wine cup and toasted Xiaotan. He deliberated for a moment, then said through telepathy, "Elder Xiao." Xiaotan looked up toward Yi Futian. It looked like Yi Futian wanted to speak to him about something. Otherwise, there was no need for him to use telepathy. "Feel free to speak your mind, friend Yi," Xiaotan said. "I might set up a cultivation academy in the Heavenly Mandate realm sometime in the future, a place similar to Tianshan Academy and the Divine Palace. When that time comes, influential factions from the Heavenly Mandate realm will join. I intend to get my teacher, the Sky River Great Elder, to manage the academy and invite Lord Taishian to become a minister." Yi Futian continued with telepathy. "Thus, I wanted to ask if the Xiao clan was interested." Yi Futian did not think about this matter just now. However, he had noticed the attitude the Xiao clan had toward him. That, coupled with the threat of the Sheng clan, made him think about what the Sheng clan would do to him if they felt threatened by him setting up his own school. Thus, he wanted to get the Xiao clan to join him. Xiaotan was a little shocked. He did not expect Yi Futian to want to set up an academy at such a young age. Furthermore, it seemed that he was doing that on a large scale. The factions from the Heavenly Mandate realm were going to participate and enter. If he managed to rope in Lord Taishian and the Sky River Great Elder, then it would be at the scale of a path-spreading academy. "Friend Yi, you are Muyu's teacher. The Xiao clan will definitely go observe the ceremony when you open your academy," Xiaotan said. He did not directly agree to Yi Futian's question. After all, he did not know what exactly Yi Futian's motive for setting up an academy was. What if he wanted to do battle with the Sheng clan in the future? If that was the case, the Xiao clan being embroiled in the battle was no ordinary affair. There were too many implications. It was not hard to understand why he thought that way. The manager Yi Futian appointed was the Sky River Great Elder. What kind of relationship did the Sky River Great Elder have with the Sheng clan? "You can ease any concerns you have, Elder. This academy is only for spreading my path and nurturing people who are cultivating their path. It will not involve the personal vengeance of my teacher and I. I was worrying if this academy could safely stand within the Heavenly Mandate realm, and thus wanted to borrow the strength of the Xiao clan," Yi Futian said directly. Xiaotan would naturally be cautious when he mentioned the Sky River Great Elder. Thus, Yi Futian directly voiced out his thoughts. Pulling the Xiao clan into his camp was merely to protect himself. He would not actively target anyone. Furthermore, he was truly hoping to set up a school. As for the matter with the Sheng clan, as long as the Xiao clan got aboard, and he gradually got stronger, coupled with his relationship with Xiaomuyu, how could the Xiao clan separate themselves from the matter? Xiaotan was a little hesitant. He heard Yi Futian continue. "What I think is that this academy would be able to nurture at least a dozen wielders of a perfect divine wheel in the future." Xiaotan's pupils dilated when he heard Yi Futian. He raised his head and looked gravely at Yi Futian. "You truly are confident of nurturing renhuangs with perfect divine wheels?" Xiaotan said through telepathy. "That requires fate and talent. There's hope if the person's talent is greater than Muyu's. I think that you still do not know. But Do Zhao, as well as a few of my friends by my side, have already become wielders of perfect divine wheels." Yi Futian continued to throw out another piece of jarring information. "All right, count the Xiao clan in," Xiaotan immediately promised. He did not have any hesitation. He had to be decisive when he needed to. Judging from Yi Futian's words, he might truly have obtained a divine item, and could nurture wielders of perfect divine wheels like the sacred lands of the premium factions. How could he miss this opportunity? Xiaotan did not have a way to deal with Yi Futian. Now that Yi Futian was on good terms with the Xiao clan, and could help them, only a fool would treat Yi Futian's benevolence with animosity. Even if they managed to do that, who could guarantee that Yi Futian would obediently follow their instructions? Xiao Muyu looked at Xiaotan and Yi Futian with a strange look. Were the two of them interacting? Friend Yi. At this moment, a powerful fighter from the Yuanyang clan said, Yuan Hong had high praises for you when he came back. If there is a chance, you can come to have a look around the Yuanyang clan. Yi Futian had a strange expression when he heard the other party's words. He suddenly thought that since he already pulled the Xiao clan into his camp, he might as well go all out, and also pull the Yuanyang clan into his group. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 1679 Return. Chapter 1679 Return. Yi Futian raised his cup toward the powerful fighter from the Yuanyang clan and said, I'll definitely head to the Yuanyang clan to have a look if there is the opportunity. The two of them raised their cups toward each other. Yi Futian then told the people from the Xiao clan, I'll go raise a few toasts. I'll head there with my teacher, Xiaomuyu said as she stood up with her wine cup. Xiaotan saw how proactive Xiaomuyu was and nodded slightly. Yi Futian was willing to become closer to the Xiao clan. Xiaomuyu was a good bridge between them. Furthermore, Xiaomuyu was very respectful of Yi Futian. Even though they had not been master and student for very long, they did get along rather well with each other. Yi Futian wanted to reject her. After all, Xiaomuyu now had the status of the Xiao clan's goddess. However, he did not say anything when he saw Xiaotan nod his head. The two of them stood up together. Xiaomuyu followed beside Yi Futian. In that instant, several people looked toward them. Yi Futian walked to the area where the Yuanyang clan was in. Yuan Hong immediately freed up a seat and said, You can sit here. The person beside him cooperated and stood up. Yi Futian did not reject the offer and sat down. Xiaomuyu sat down behind him. That caused many people to be rather shocked. Xiaomuyu no longer had an ordinary status, yet she willingly took up a supporting role at this moment. It seemed like her respect for Yi Futian stemmed from deep within her heart. Thank you for what you did in the God's Relic. I've come specially to give you all a toast. Yi Futian smiled as he raised his cup toward the group. I also wish to help my teacher extend his gratitude. Xiaomuyu followed Yi Futian's actions. The elder of the Yuanyang clan smiled as he nodded. If they were not master and disciple, the two of them did look like a fine pair. Friend Yi, is the goddess your first disciple? The elder of the Yuanyang clan asked. She should be my first official disciple. Yi Futian nodded as he said. However, with a disciple like Muyu, I suddenly have the urge to take in even more disciples. I know female disciples. Yuan Hong laughed as he chimed in from the side. No, I might set up a school when I return to the heavenly mandate realm in the future. I'll spread my path and teachings. Isn't taking in a bunch of disciples one of life's greatest joys? Yi Futian said half-jokingly. School. Yuan Hong was a little shocked. Yi Futian's abilities were still rather weak. If they were in the lower realms of the 3,000 realms of the Great Path, Yi Futian's current battle capabilities were enough to rule over a realm. However, his strength would not be enough for him to set up a school in one of the 9 supreme regions. It's going to be a small school. At the very most, I'll affiliate myself with the other factions of the Heavenly Mandate realm. After all, I am familiar with them. I could even drag Xiaomuyu along to consolidate my position, Yi Futian said casually. That's feasible. Yuan Hong nodded. However, I just said that casually. If I truly set up a school, and want to take in disciples in the future, the Yuanyang clan must send me a few students with good potential. It's best that. You know it, Yi Futian said as he squinted. Yuan Hong's expression darkened. This lad's reputation had spread across the realms, yet he did not know how to pay attention to his image. All right, I'll gather a few good students for you when that time comes, and get them to enter our school. But don't play favorites, Yuan Hong promised. He knew that Yi Futian was only joking. Xiao Muyu was a female disciple. What could Yi Futian do to her? They were merely kidding. Then that's a deal, Yi Futian said. I'll await that day. I will keep my word, Yuan Hong promised. I'll also give you my word in place of Yuan Hong. The elder of the Yuanyang clan smiled as he said, Then let me give you my thanks. Yi Futian did not go into detail, and merely narrated his plan in a joking manner. The Yuanyang clan would naturally understand him when the time comes. It was up to them what they would do. He could not elaborate his plan in detail like how he had told it to Xiao Tan. He had to hide a little of the truth. Yi Futian chatted for a while here, then went to propose a toast with Shintian Academy and the Nantian Divine Kingdom, to thank them for their actions outside the god's relic. This was only a way of strengthening their relationship. He did not expect them to be his allies if something happened in the future, but he wanted them to not be his enemies when that time comes. After the banquet, the powerful fighters of various factions left one after the other. Although the Xiao clan politely got them to stay, those were mere formalities. None of the factions would stay for real. It was evening. Yi Futian bade his goodbyes and prepared to leave. Teacher, can you not stay for a few more days? Xiao Muyu asked Yi Futian. Friend Yi Muyu is not wrong. This journey has been rushed, and we have not treated you appropriately. If you do not have anything urgent to attend to, why be in such a hurry to leave? Xiaotan also tried to get him to stay. It would be good if Yi Futian could stay, and give the juniors of the Xiao clan some pointers. If he took a fancy to any of them, Yi Futian might even take them in as his disciple, and nurture them, as he did with Xiao Muyu. Xiao Muyu nodded her head seriously. She looked at Yi Futian longingly and said, I haven't had the chance to serve you well. Yi Futian looked at Xiao Muyu's pitiful expression. Xiao Muyu was even pulling on his sleeve. He did not bear to leave. Muyu, we are family. You don't have to put on an act in front of me, Yi Futian said with a smile. Xiao Muyu's expression darkened. She released her hand and rolled her eyes toward Yi Futian. Didn't you say that you want to be served well by your disciple? I really can't bear to see you leave so soon. I believe you, Yi Futian said with a smile. However, she was acting more exaggerated than she was before. Her pretense was too obvious. She had underestimated him as his teacher. Yi Futian turned to look at Xiao Tan and the rest of the people and said, Elder, we'll have many chances in the future, but I really have several things to accomplish. That's fine. Xiao Tan did not insist after he saw that Yi Futian was determined to leave. He said, Come frequently if you have the time. You can inform us if you encounter any trouble. All right. Thank you, Elder. Yi Futian nodded. I'll take my leave. He then said to Xiao Muyu, You've already become the goddess of the Xiao clan. You have to train well. As the chief disciple, you must not tarnish my reputation. I know, Xiao Muyu said in frustration. I'm leaving, Yi Futian said. He then left together with Xiaqing Yuan and the 3 other people in his group. His group disappeared into the horizon in the blink of an eye. Xiao Muyu dragged her long black gown and walked forward. She only stopped when she reached the front of the steps. She got into a daze as she looked at the figures gradually disappearing into the horizon. Fate was a wonderful thing. She remembered that she had met Yi Futian, because he had snatched her lotus in the god's relic for Xiaqing Yuan. Now he had become her benefactor. Even though he was very improper, he left a deep impression in her heart. They had only interacted for a short time, yet he had taken up an important position in her heart. You can't bear for him to leave? Xiao Tan asked as he walked to Xiao Muyu's side. A little. Xiao Muyu nodded as she said, That lad is exceptional. Who knows what kind of storms they would create in the 3,000 realms of the Great Path now that they had left, Xiao Tan muttered. We can only wait and see. It was clear that he thought highly of Yi Futian. Yi Futian continued to train silently when he returned to Shintian Academy. Time passed without him knowing. Half a year has passed. Yi Futian did not cause trouble during this time. No one in Shintian Academy disturbed him. Half a year later, Yi Futian and his group secretly left Shintian Academy. However, he still invited the attention of several people. After all, many people in the area outside Futian Academy were paying close attention to Futian. However, no one expected Futian, who had trained silently for a year, to suddenly disappear with the rest of his group. When several people came to the pavilion the next day, they realized that it was empty. The matrix was also destroyed. It was as if Futian had never come here. Futian Academy naturally caught wind of the news. However, Futian Academy and Futian had a transactional relationship. They naturally did not care if Futian stayed or not. Her uncle master saw her as a child, but her cultivation level was not low. "Grandmaster, I'll head off now," Futian said as he sliced through the air and left. He brought his group from this place back to the heavenly mandate realm. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. However, the Purple Gold Rat clan was not foolish either to reject the Heavenly Mandate dynasty and kept dragging on the negotiations. During this process, small skirmishes kept occurring, and many cultivators from the Purple Gold Rat clan perished. They had sought reinforcements and asked for aid from the demon clans in the Heavenly Mandate realm. However, no one answered their call for aid. The forces of the demon realm originally looked down on the Purple Gold Rat clan, even though they had all joined forces with Futian in the God's Relic. On the surface, they seemed to have been in the same alliance as the Purple Gold Rat clan. However, in reality, things were not that simple, especially after a few of the top figures among the juniors of Demon Clan returned, having forged flawless divine wheels. Everything became even more obvious. The Purple Gold Rat clan was not included in Futian's plans at all. That meant that Futian had intentionally given them 3 ritual implements in order to stir up conflict. As for the 3 top-tier ritual implements, they would not be going anywhere. If everything went according to Futian's plan, the Heavenly Mandate dynasty and the Purple Gold Rat clan would most likely have nowhere to run. When that time came, wouldn't the ritual implements still end up back in Futian's hands? After the few members of the demon clan that managed to forge flawless divine wheels returned, they had been cultivating in seclusion. News of them becoming Renhuangs was tightly guarded. The people of the outside world did not even know that they had broken through to the next plane. Only their own forces knew about it. Now they only needed to wait for news to arrive. Futian was obviously going to slaughter his way back here. That day should also be not too far away. In the lands of the dragon gods in the demon realm, in the Heavenly Mandate realm. For the dragon gods, everything was as usual. There was nothing out of the ordinary. Right now, there was a rumor circulating among the dragon gods. Rumor had it that Long Chun might have already become a demon emperor, and that he might have already broken through to the next plane in Tiantian Academy. However, this news had yet to be verified. After he returned here, Long Chun had been in seclusion on Dragon God Mountain, and had not come out at all. The seniors among the dragon gods also did not speak of this matter. Hence, there was only a rumor, no one knew the truth. At the moment, many demon emperors of dragon gods looked up to the sky in the distance. Their demonic aura churned. There were a few very powerful auras heading in their direction. Soon, dazzling divine light descended, and a group of silhouettes appeared in the sky above dragon gods. Many dragons flew up to the sky and roared at the incomers, showing signs of animosity. This group actually dared to invade dragon gods directly.